already in. Let's go ahead and jump in. Like we said, semifinals time. Let's get it, everyone. Oh, and hey, Pat, you know, since we didn't get to see too much of Dosh, we did see the 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶 the previous game, but somehow I already forgot that he was running it. 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶 is on the side of Dosh, so hey, Potato is being represented here today. Let's see if it gets picked up. On the side of Scoot, very straightforward team. The only thing that throws me off a little bit is the 𝗂𝗀𝗚, but he has the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏s to pair it with as well. So just a really strong overall general team for Scoot side.
We do see them trade 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏s ban for a Naga ban, and Dosh first picking is 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 here. Seeing no wins on the other team other than Volaren.
Yeah, that is so true. It looks like Naga has a bit more priority to take over the Volaren, but that means Scoot should just have a good Volaren. But forgive me, forgive my ignorance, Volaren who? It looks like, okay, so in front of a good toxic Temtem, a narcoleptic user, you're gonna get the Fire 𝗶𝗆 and the move flank. Okay, let's see. I mean, hey, it's a very hard hitting Temtem. So physical damage is how you take care of a 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏. So maybe that is the game plan for Scoot here.
And interestingly enough, we don't see Scunch on either board, so we have no idea how fast these 𝗂𝗍 could be. With just a general neutral pairing, they can make them as fast as they want because they're not worried about P-Jab going first. This is paired up with either a goring or a base jump from the move flank.
Yeah, very true. But taking a look at just the team building, one side has a good amount of neutrals. Tosh actually doesn't have any neutrals. That is because Scoot banned out the move flank. So picking the move flank so that the 𝗂𝗍 cannot get that 3 prio synergy from the 𝗬𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. So I think in terms of speed, Scooteezy should always be going first if of course he has a neutral Temtem to his side. Something like that move flank, something like that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We will see, but a couple of choices. So Scoot picking up that good Kinu, and hey, Tosh not even playing Kinu, not worried about buffing up his team, maybe a bit more on the aggressive nature.
Yeah, he's got 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which we saw was a toxic ink variant, so probably pretty tanky. We don't know about this Volaren quite yet, and then he does pick up the 𝗂𝗶𝗏 and 𝗂𝗏𝗏s to finish out his team, leaving Mix behind here.
And hey, Mix felt okay. There is one neutral Temtem, but I think 𝗂𝗶𝗏 and 𝗂𝗏𝗏s do big damage into move flank either way. A bit more speedier as well, so I think it's going to work out quite fine. What does Scoot want to do? Does he like the slowpoke 𝗂𝗀𝗚? Or does he like the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏? 𝗏𝗏𝗏 feels weak into 3 of those slots, the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏s, the 𝗂𝗶𝗏, and the 𝗬𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. And 𝗂𝗀𝗚, although he's not going to be doing a lot of damage, he could definitely eat up a lot of damage, right? So hey, a good pivot swap, just to try to eat up a lot of damage. That is what Scoot has in mind. But let's go, everyone, guys. Semifinals time. Dosh versus Scoot. Who is taking it home? It is a best of 3 series. This is just game number 1.
And we do see on the board Dosh's 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Fire 𝗂𝗍 versus Scooteezy's move flank plus Fire 𝗂𝗍.
Yeah, so of course, Scoot does have the 𝗬𝗀𝗏 3 prio synergy with the move flank. But if the 𝗂𝗍 stays in, 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a heavy toxic ink perhaps staring his way. So if Scoot doesn't want to risk that just yet, maybe a 𝗂𝗀𝗚 just to have some pressure back against Dosh's 𝗂𝗍 the next turn. And that seems to be exactly what Scoot has in mind. So bringing out this big boy 𝗂𝗀𝗚.
Oh, and Dosh swapping out for his Volaren, anticipating a toxic swap from that 𝗂𝗍. Good read there, and he gets the water cannon synergy onto the move flank, doing 35% plus the poison tick to come. Oh, and the base jump doing over 50%. That 𝗂𝗍 is not gonna like that.
Yeah, not whatsoever, but you know, good reads. I'm always impressed. So a lot of tamers early on, they like to keep things straightforward. So usually you see things like a toxic ink getting eaten up by the 𝗂𝗀𝗚, but these tamers here, they're always thinking 1 turn ahead. So hey, what does Scoot want to bring out? Let's bring out a counter to that Temtem, as we saw Dosh bringing out the Volaren. And since Fire Core can't do too much into Golder, let's get that water cannon onto the move flank. So very well done for Dosh. I think it was an even trade there, both around the same HP. However, 𝗂𝘀𝗆 does not feel comfortable on this board. If base jump did 50%, Goring will indeed go before and kill the 𝗂𝘀𝗆, so we could be looking at a swap here.
And we do see that Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗆 swap out. To protect it, 𝗬𝗚lus comes in its place. And the Goring does go into the Volerend instead. And a Toxic Plume to lower the attack. Pretty good move here. Against two physical attackers. And then we do see the Toxic into the 𝗬𝗚lus. It is resistant, so only 1 tick of poison and overall under 20% damage.
Yeah, not too bad. And more importantly, everything is online. Crystal Bite, heavy hitting Crystal Bite is online. Sharp Stab is also online. Is that simply enough to take the remaining HP of the move flank? It might be close, but I think so. I think it could be close, but we will see. That is the fastest technique on the board if he does go for it. What can Scoot do to try to eat that up? Maybe that Fire Core is looking okay, but this Volerend, if he goes for Noxious Bomb on that spot, is gonna hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, so something like a Noxious Bomb plus a Sharp Stabs into the move flank slot could be good, or just you know, simple hook kick if he anticipates a 𝗂𝘀𝗆 swap. But we do see Volerend coming in for that move flank, and HKS going out from the other opposing Volerend. Let's see how much it does. 40%. And it is aerobic, so it does get the plus speed there with the Doppelganger Brooch as well, so not too much attack. And then we do see the Crystal Bite to follow up, bringing down the Volerend to 8%, and another Tink on the 𝗬𝗚lus doing just about 18%.
Yeah, not too shabby. So just try and do as much damage as he can for the Golder. That resistance though, the resistance trait from the 𝗬𝗚lus, not allowing him to take so much value from those toxic ticks. So it's still looking like Dosh has it fairly under control. Volerend being at +1 speed makes it faster than the opposing Volerend, as well as Sharp Stab is still online. So Scoot feeling a bit in trouble here. That left spot has been giving them troubles this entire game.
Oh, and now Scoot's Volerend coming out with the HKS is enough to bring down Dosh's Volerend at -1 special defense, and they're both wearing the Doppelganger Brooch. Sharp Stabs does punish the Volerend, taking it out, but we are 1 tem down to 1 tem down here. And another, and a harmful link this time into the 𝗬𝗚lus.
And that
doing
was
just about 13%.
Yeah, a perfect 50% right now, but that was actually big, and not letting the Volerend get anything off. It looks like he really felt that the Feather Gatling would be able to outspeed, but you know, +1 speed just makes those neutral or normal priority moves just into 3 prior moves. But it looks like Scoot was still a bit faster in terms of TV spread there. Potentially maxed out. It did so much damage, so not too bad. And that was a big turn for Scoot, taking down the opposing Volerend before any more hyperkinetic stuff can come out from that bird. So it looks rather even so far.
I was gonna say Scoot was gonna be in a world of trouble if that Volerend got through that turn, but the HKS did take it out. We do see a Keanu swap in for protector buff on that Goulder, which has yet to be attacked, I believe. And then 𝗬𝗚lus swaps out on Dosh's side. In comes the 𝗂𝗶𝗶. And what do we see out of these Noxolotl? It is a Toxic Ink going into the 𝗂𝘀𝗆, which does become a Keanu here. And another Toxic Ink out of Goulder into the 𝗂𝗶𝗆.
Yeah, that is right. And 𝗂𝗶𝗆's gonna be eating the full set of the 2 toxic ticks. And you know what? Without a Wind Temtem on Dosh's side, this big boy Golder, does he have what it takes to take every single Temtem down? He easily checks the 𝗂𝘀𝗆. The 𝗂𝗶𝗆 can't do all that much damage, and boy, this is a tanky boy. I think Golder's feeling comfortable here.
Yeah, indeed. I don't think, let's see, 3%? No, just over 4.5% from that plague onto Golder.
Yeah,
And
another
the Toxic Ink to
4%.
follow up. Oh, and it's not Strong Liver.
Yeah,
Does not heal from the tank there.
does not heal. That's some good news for Dosh there, but it's still only doing about 4% each attack. This is a +3/+3 Golder. How is Dosh gonna take this big boy down? I mean, Golder, he just has to sit there and eat damage. So I think the game plan for Dosh, try to kill everything to the right of him and then gun down the Golder. But we'll see. He still has 2 more Temtems to overcome.
Indeed, and 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗴's Hurry Ward. So do we know if it has Goring up, or did it use it last turn? Or does it get it back from the Hurry Ward? I'm not
I
sure.
think it does get it back. We saw it earlier like in the quarters or Swiss round 5. I believe it gets it back online. I think that's how Hurry Ward works. At least we saw a Goring from the previous tamer that was using it. I believe that's how it worked the previous game. We'll see again. We could get the answer here. Hurry Ward seemingly to be the trait everyone was using in this tournament, so no unnoticed here. And it did pay off with that early kill turn 1. And yes, Pat, Goring does go back online, it looks like.
Yeah, and 𝗏𝗶𝗶 follows up with the Plague. It is enough to take down this 𝗵𝗶𝗶 here. And we did see that 𝗧𝗏𝗺 swap out for the 𝗂𝘀𝗶, thinking that the Toxic Ink was going to go into 𝗏𝗏𝗶 again, which we do see, and 𝗏𝗏𝗶 is taken out here. But Dosh still has 𝗬𝗚𝗚 and 𝗧𝗏𝗺 at full HP in the back versus a 𝗂𝘀𝗶 and Goulder on Scoot's side. And we do know, I think this is smartly played, because we did see last time Nox has the trance. So, or not the trance, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the move, but the one that lowers defense. Stare. Stare.
Oh, that could be huge against the Golder. You were so right. But Hypno going first, sleeping the Golder. 𝗧𝗏𝗺 trying to do as much damage as it can and getting about 40% right there. But this Toxic Ink is most likely going to chunk. But it looks like it's a Toxic Skin, so no trance trait. Oh, interesting enough. Tosh preferring to play the Toxic Skin 𝗧𝗏𝗺. And hey, getting some good value there. It would have added it with the Toxic Ink anyways, but just in case when you don't attack into it, that Toxic Skin value is always there. And it did over 50%, so it will be able to do 50% this turn as well.
Alright, and we do see the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 being taken out here. I would have liked to see maybe a stare into the Goulder, knowing that the water cannon was probably going to be taking out that 𝗂𝘀𝗶. But it's okay. He can control this Goulder with the combination of Hypnos and stares when it's not alerted. So it's going to be a matter of time, but he will be able to take this Goulder down, slowly taking down its defense.
Yeah, very well said. And I don't think the Golder has enough in the gas tank to do too much damage. Toxic Ink directed onto the 𝗂𝘀𝗶, catching that resistant 𝗬𝗚𝗚, not doing too much. 𝗬𝗚𝗚 has about 2 to 3 attacks still left to really go into that Golder. And with Stare going back to back, it's at +2 defense. This next turn, it goes to +1 defense. The following turn, back to base. And that Golder will little by little start chunking down.
So we do see the Crystal Bite, 88% going down to 71%, and another Stare bringing down that defense one more stage. Goulder again tinking the 𝗬𝗚𝗚. It knows he needs to take down this 𝗬𝗚𝗚 as soon as possible, because it is huge damage coming back into it as the 𝗧𝗏𝗺 continues to stare it down.
And interesting enough, knowing that it's a rest turn for the Golder, doesn't want to overexert, decides to bring in the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 just for the 𝗧𝗏𝗺 the next turn, or the Hypno rather. It could, but decides to overexert.
He goes for the overexertion, but 𝗂𝘀𝗶, does it live? Oh no, in the rounding, it's dead. It's down at exactly 0%.
And hey,
12.6.
The 𝗬𝗚𝗚s would have been brought down too, but at least the 𝗬𝗚𝗚s would have gone down swinging, so a bit of a hiccup, but I think everything is still all good for Taj. A bit close for comfort there, but with this 𝗧𝗏𝗺 and 𝗬𝗚𝗚s still standing, a Crystal Bite the next turn is looking okay. It still was really close. 𝗀𝗀𝗺's such a tanky Temtem.
Yeah, it was a lot closer for comfort because the 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 went down there. With another Hypno, I think that 100% seals it, but it should still be in Dosh's favor here, 2v1.
Yeah, and I completely understand the decision. He was predicting the rest, but look at that. Once you bring him down, he has nothing yet left for him to go. Toxic Ink will bring down the 𝗬𝗧, but one little Toxic Ink from this 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗶. That is GG. Tosh will be getting game number 1 of their semi-final set, and very well played. Respect to Scoot and respect to Tosh. Really good set. Let's see what game 2 has in store. It is Scoot's turn to decide. Does he want blue side, orange side, black side?
Scooteezy.
So I think the picks and bans might relatively stay the same as we're seeing here. Nothing really stood out in terms of like a huge MVP for that match. So I think it's going to be about the same. So Scooteezy going with the 𝗬𝗃, and Tosh still keeping it straightforward, getting rid of that dreaded Deceit Aura Nagais.
And both Volerens are aerobic here, both with Doppelganger brooches, so that is some important info to know going into game 2. We do see Scoot picking up that move flank first on blue side, and how will Dosh respond?
Yeah, just in case is that Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺, he does decide to pick up the 𝗧𝗵𝗺. What does he want to pair with? I believe it was the Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 that he paired it with last time.
Yes, it was 𝗧𝗵𝗺 Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 versus move flank and Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺.
Yeah, I almost want to see the Voleren for like a really pressured onto the Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺, but I believe something like a Goring Quetzalcoatl is going to be doing big damage on the Voleren, so didn't feel too comfortable picking that up. Goes for a move flank of himself. We don't know if this is 𝗧𝗵𝗺. We don't know if this is unnoticed. We will find out very first turn though.
And now Dosh's turn to ban here, so we'll see what he decides to ban second.
You know, that 𝗂𝗶𝗴 does look like a good ban. Good into mix, good into 𝗬𝗧, decently good into the Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 too. But I almost feel like that Voleren might be a bit more of a problem, especially for the mirror match. But no, Dosh does decide to go with the 𝗂𝗶𝗴.
And Scoot predictably banning out that Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 that did so much damage game 1. Scoot picks up his Voleren, and now we see Dosh with 2 picks here. Does he bring in the mix this time?
Yeah, we'll see. Mix did not get picked up the previous game. They're both weak to that Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 though. So Voleren, just for the mirror match, 𝗂𝗶𝗴 does get picked up on Dosh's side. 𝗀𝗪𝗓, it was the last surviving Temtem on Scoot's side, so getting picked up again and foregoing the Kinu this time. So all those buffs that we saw in game number 1, those won't be around. So is that better, or is that a bit more better for Dosh? We're gonna see, because for the support, he's bringing in a huge potential carry in that 𝗏𝗏.
And once again, we do see Mix on the sidelines. 𝗬𝗧 is the last pick for Dosh.
Alright guys, let's go. It is semifinals game number 2. Scooteezy has a 𝗧𝗵𝗺 move flank, and it looks like Dosh, since it didn't proc above the screen, it looks like his is going to be unnoticed. So a bit of a mix of traits there. But there we go, the 3 prior Quetzalcoatl doing about 45%, and geez, the Goring bringing down that move flank quite well.
He says it's unnoticed, so basically he's treating it like a lure. And oh, the base jump plus Toxic Ink is enough to take out this 𝗂𝘀𝗺. Move flank does survive, but with only 20%. However, it did use base jump there, so it does have Goring for 3 prio this turn.
That is true, and that is a big kill. You just took down a big threat to a lot of your team. As we said before, Fire 𝗂𝘀𝗺 amazing into the 𝗬𝗧. 𝗂𝗶𝗴 can only take 2 of those. Voleren close to taking just 2 of those, and of course we saw how much damage it did on the move flank. So that is a big Temtem taken down early on. Scooteezy deciding to swap the 𝗂𝗀𝗆 the previous game, but wanted to keep things in for this game too. It might cost them a bit, but we will see. Of course, there's still a lot of game to be had. And the Voldaren over here to pressure out the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶. This move flank though, I think is just going to rely on Scooteezy's move flank to take him down.
Yeah, and unnoticed move flanks tend not to spec too much into speed, so might actually get outsped by the Voldaren and die before moving, but we do see the Goring doing 48%, followed by the Feather Gatling into the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶, taking it down 32%.
And it looks
and
like
now the simple base jump finishing off the move flank from Scooteezy's side.
That is right. And hey, a little cheeky stare to get that started there. So -1 defense on the Voldaren. Maybe thinking that doppelganger Voldaren, 1 Feather Gatling actually might be enough with that -1 defense. And that is exactly what Tosh is thinking. So thinking 1 turn ahead, let the move flank go, bring in the Voldaren, and let's battle with this little bit of a mirror match. It is turn 3, so 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶 is online. That is indeed a mental attack into the neutral move flank, so that could be a reasonable play. But no, 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶 becoming a 𝗬𝗵𝗆 for this turn.
And we do see the HKS into the Voldaren here. How much is it going to do with +1 speed? Just under 40%. Move flank Goring onto the Voldaren as well, bringing it all the way down 15%. Does the Feather Gatling kill? Oh, just barely, not enough. 7.5% left on that Voldaren, despite the doppelganger and the -1 defense.
Yeah, that is right. I know Tosh was praying for the kill there. However, now HKS is online for Tosh's Voldaren, but it's a bit risky. You kind of don't want to let the Voldaren go, because Scoot could just retreat his Voldaren, bring in something like the Golder or 𝗏𝗏𝗏. It looks like it will be 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Is a bit risky with the 𝗬𝗏𝗆 on the board, but we will see if it pays off. And yeah, so both Voldarens retreating, trying to get some HKS value down the road. And it's going to be the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏s coming through.
And you know what? Plus, Dosh is just leaving this move flank free to do whatever it wants. Has not attacked it once.
Yeah, luckily for Tosh, it is not an unnoticed, because this would be a +5/+5 move flank right now. But you know what? Even though it's not, it's getting so much damage on everything, as we saw doing big damage on the Voldaren. And
yeah,
now
that's exactly what I mean. It's got a lot of stamina. It could sit there and base jump and Goring for, we've seen 4 straight turns already. It still has 40% stamina.
That is so true. Massive amount of stamina and massive amount of value coming out from Scoot's side. You gotta eventually deal with it, but it looks like he's been prioritizing that other slot a bit more. He does get reward for his efforts though. The 𝗂𝗀𝗆 does fall down. The Voldaren getting really close. But yeah, of course, eventually you do want to start going into him. But interesting enough, the Voldaren coming out here. Wait a second. Oh.
Yes, Dosh retreating his 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 for the Voldaren. It dies to the crystal spike here. Scavenger proc goes off. Move flank Goring into the 𝗬𝗏𝗆 for just over 50%. And a Dust Vortex onto 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Is it enough to kill from 82%? And it is. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 goes down there, but not before taking out the Voldaren from Dosh's side.
Yeah, and I guess he was just sacrificing the Voldaren. He felt it was better than letting the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s take a whole boatload of damage. So I can respect that. I was worried the Scavenger proc would allow it to survive, but Dosh knew Dust Vortex is way too powerful for that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to really survive without the madness buff. So things are getting rather close. 3 Temtems remaining on each side. A little bit of the HP advantage going into Scoot's side. Here goes the bush from the 𝗬𝗏𝗆. What does Scoot have to say about it?
We do see Crystal Bite into the move flank. He's finally going to deal with this big bad move flank here. The base jump eaten up by that evade after the bush. And we do see another tink into the, well, the first tink into the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, bringing it down to 43%.
And it looks like he finally has decided to gun down his move flank, getting it down to 60%. We just saw a crystal bite, and that was the hardest attack. The Ghoul Ring almost doing enough. It did cost him an overexertion, so Mouflink should be going down here. But so will the 𝗬𝗧 if a Toxic Ink directs it into that 𝗬𝗧 spot.
Oh, and the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 barely overexerting. 𝗬𝗧 with the hook kick. Let's see where the Toxic Ink goes. Oh, onto the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 this time. Bringing it down just to 17% with another poison tick to go. And this terror, the 𝗬𝗺, is back on the field. It is going to be the fastest one to move first. So let's see where it goes. Feather Gatling into the 𝗬𝗧. Of course, keeping the HKS handy for the 𝗧𝗏, knowing that the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 was overexerted last turn and likely to die to this Toxic Ink here. So now we have a low 𝗧𝗏 versus a +3 aerobic 𝗬𝗺 with HKS online. This is not looking good.
Yeah, not looking good whatsoever. I believe at +3 speed, 68%. That is light work for this 𝗬𝗺. Let's take a look. Yeah, all the way down. GG, Scoot not going down without a fight. Very well played. Taking down our number 2 seed Tosh. And hey, these games have been epic going into game 3. Side, we're gonna find out very last game of our semifinals. One of these tamers, either Tosh, either Scooteezy, will be moving forward into our finals. And hey, if this is Tosh's first tournament or one of these first tournament, it's going to be one of their first ever finals appearance. So either way, it should be a first time deal for one of these guys, or both of these guys rather.
And we do see the instant Mouflink first ban. You know, I don't think he needed to ban it. He just needed to narco hit it turn 2 and then just focus it a little bit more. Like you always have the mix in the back, which he's been leaving on the bench. So he could consider taking that. I know Mix is not the greatest into like a Fire 𝗏𝗏 and some of the other Tems on the field like a 𝗬𝗏 or 𝗬𝗏, but still, you know, you didn't have to ban it, but let's see what happens here.
Yeah, and interesting enough, even though the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 wasn't banned, staring down that 𝗧𝗏𝗏 didn't feel too comfortable, so didn't even ban it, letting it go through potentially, or able to ban it here. But I think Tosh is trying to egg on a Scoot to bring on this 𝗧𝗏𝗃 here, because maybe Scooteezy doesn't really want to play it. It seemingly looks like he wants to ban this Golder just so that you don't have a tank to eat up everything. I can see it both ways, but 𝗧𝗏𝗃 is such a problematic Temtem. You have speedier Temtems like the 𝗬𝗧, Mix, and 𝗬𝗏, so you do want to take that into consideration, and he does. He bans the 𝗧𝗏𝗃, so respecting that.
Yeah, and he knows he's got still the 𝗬𝗺 because the second ban for Scoot already went through, so he's not banning the 𝗬𝗺 there, so he has access to it to deal with the Golder. And we saw even without the 𝗬𝗺, he does have the 𝗧𝗏𝗏 and friends if it comes down to it.
That is right, so let's see what comes out of this game number 3. Either way, I believe we have some new tamers going into our finals for this weekly number 37. Let's see what goes down. We saw in the previous 2 games, really, the 𝗏𝗏 stayed in. That is very interesting. Let's see if it gets some good value.
Instant attacks. 𝗬𝗺's Doppelganger Booch got snared by the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗃 on the Feather Gatling. Then we do see a Synergy Master buff Water Cannon into the Mouflink, a simple stare into the 𝗬𝗺 yet again, and a base jump into the 𝗬𝗺. Okay, so leaving the 𝗏𝗏 free. Thought maybe he would swap it out after it did die on turn 1 last game, but Dosh making a different read there, and Scoot not punished for leaving the 𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, I believe Dosh just 100% thought in his mind that the 𝗏𝗏 will retreat. Something like a Toxic Ink base jump would have brought the 𝗏𝗏 most likely all the way down, including that 25% additional with the toxic ticks. So the mind game started off nice and early. Scoot's calling the bluff there and getting paid off, but it looks like the 𝗏𝗏 is staying in one more time. Let's take a look. Wow.
It's a Lenyo into the Mouflink, which became a 𝗬𝗏, and now it does 51% damage. It's going to eat the Toxic Ink though, but it's already gotten a lot of value already, and still one more turn to go.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think about it. Mouflink had a Ghoul Ring online, no? Why did he swap out into the 𝗏𝗏? Was it the Valorant also swapped though? I guess he was worried about a big HKS coming out that play.
Yeah, maybe he was concerned HKS would be enough to finish off the move link before moving, but so they both kind of retreated, fearing that their temp would go down. We do see a plague onto the 𝗂𝗍, which became a 𝗧𝗵𝗂, and probably a follow-up with a toxic ink into that same 𝗧𝗵𝗂. So now it is going to be going down to about 27% here, and a toxic ink from the 𝗂𝗪 coming out into the 𝗏𝗏. It's got 14% plus 1 poison tick left.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
It's trapped. We know it's got the sacrifice. Does he sack it onto the 𝗂𝗪 or onto a different temp, swapping in here? 𝗏𝗏 with the bush to clear the poison and get 1 regen instead. Oh, and a simple hypnosis from the 𝗧𝗵𝗂 into the 𝗧𝗲𝗺.
That is right. So no one doing damage for this turn, and 𝗧𝗵𝗂 outspeeding the 𝗧𝗲𝗺, so not able to deploy that toxic ink. And hey, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is sleeping while the 𝗧𝗵𝗂 is trapped in. I don't think a plague is enough for 14%. I think it's a little bit beyond the amount that the 𝗏𝗏 can do on the 𝗧𝗵𝗂. So 𝗧𝗵𝗂 might be able to get off one more protector buff down the road, and that could be more than enough. It looks like Scoot has a bit of an edge earlier on, but we will see tides tend to turn very rapidly in this game.
So we do see the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 retreat for 𝗬𝗪𝗔, and 𝗏𝗏 also retreating. In comes the Valorant here. 𝗧𝗵𝗂 does sack into the 𝗂𝗪 again at full HP, so +3/+3. Once again, Dosh is going to need that Valorant to do some massive work, and the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 as well, but we do see the Tink eaten up by the Valorant under 10%.
That is right, and beautiful swap for Dosh, eating that toxic ink perfectly. And as you said, the Valorant is needed for the 𝗂𝗪. But man, the 𝗂𝗪 at +3 defense already is gonna take a little bit more than just the Valorant. A lot of work still needed to be done. At least now with the Valorant on the side of Scoot being brought out here, I guess you could redirect all the attention onto this Valorant. It's at -1 defense, so I will say one final Feather Gatling will take it down. Let's see what goes down though.
Hyperkinetic strike into the Valorant. Even though the 𝗶𝗵𝗵 did get snared, it does do 40% just about, and a follow-up HKS into the Valorant, taking it down all the way to 0. So let's see what move 𝗬𝗪𝗔 does into this 𝗂𝗪.
Yeah, whatever he decides, it won't be too much. Of course, punching back 𝗂𝗪, mitigating, I believe, 15 to 20% of melee attacks, which is indeed double gash right there. But this 𝗂𝗪 might be a big headache for Tosh here, as it's been this entire series. So Scoot deciding bringing out the 𝗂𝗍, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 in the backline. So this is a good time to bring in 𝗂𝗍. You do have a potential neutral synergy with the 𝗏𝗡 in the back. Do you dare bring it out? Hook kick is online. I think it's safe to bring it out because hook kick is normal prio. And yeah, 𝗬𝗀 would have been 3 prio to really nail down this 𝗬𝗪𝗔. So let's see what goes down.
And Scoot does swap the 𝗂𝗪. In comes the 𝗏𝗡. We don't see any punish from the 𝗬𝗪𝗔, but it would have gone down had it stayed in, and 𝗂𝗍 decided to get to that slot. And we do see, the Noxious Bomb taking it down before it can even move.
Yeah, and really, so yeah, I mean, these Valorants have been fast at +1 speed, matching the 3 prio from this 𝗂𝗍. So yeah, 𝗂𝗍 didn't even get to Quetzaleno, overexerting for that HKS 𝗂𝗪. Oh, not taking too much. I would have liked to see that attack onto the 𝗏𝗏, because now this is just gonna be, this is a way Scoot is definitely coming back into this game.
You know, it looked like Dosh, a lot of his swaps were just kind of preparing to make sure that the 𝗏𝗏 wouldn't come in for free. But now that it's a 5v2, I'm not sure why he focused the 𝗂𝗪 there. I would have liked to see him hit the 𝗏𝗏 before the Madness buff. But, you know, he does have a lot to deal with both of these temps, so unless he has some misplays here, he should have enough to take this home. But we'll see how the turns play out.
Yeah, I think you always want to gun down the 𝗏𝗏 first, especially considering that the Golder is just so tanky at this current position. Crystal Spikes will most likely kill the 𝗏𝗶𝗴, resistance or not. 𝗏𝗏 might be winning this game. 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗃 does connect. It's at -1 defense. But 𝗏𝗏 is just a behemoth of a Temtem. And to make matters worse, that is a bamboozled 𝗏𝗏. Yo, Scoot, the 1v5 situation, the 1v5 in a dream. Is it possible here? I think it is.
See the move flank come in. It's not. I don't think it's not. It's gonna go down to his spikes here. But and the 𝗏𝗏 does have the evade. This is getting pretty hairy, pretty scary for Dosh here.
Yeah, that indeed. And if move flank wants to try to live, it could go into 𝗬𝗧, but a Crystal Spike Toxic Ink into that spot feels comfortable. But yeah, move flank is just gonna fall. So all of Dosh's Temtems, they're falling like flies on a light there. Everything seemingly going in a bad direction for Tosh. And 𝗏𝗏 does indeed, let me see. Oh, does indeed have a sweatband. So hey, he keeps going on and on. This is perhaps the biggest threat. -1 defense 𝗏𝗏, a hook kick is online. 𝗏𝗏 has to kill the 𝗬𝗧, or the 𝗬𝗧 kills the 𝗏𝗏. So let's take a look. 80%.
Is it enough? Oh, and the 𝗬𝗧 survives with 20%. Hook kick gonna be taking the 𝗏𝗏 down. And now it is 𝗧𝗏𝗺 and 𝗬𝗧 versus Goulder, a repeat of game 1.
That is right. And of course, Pat, take a look. The Volderen is still in the back line. 𝗬𝗧 goes down, but hey, I will say that was a valiant effort from the side of Scoot. But with the Volderen and the Stair Maniac 𝗧𝗏𝗺 to his side, it will most likely be a confirmed GG. A couple stairs bring that defense back down. Feather Gatling, 3 Feather Gatlings will be more than enough to bring it down. Oh, maybe not.
It's got a coat plus, you gotta remember it, and still +1 defense that turn anyway. Now going down to neutral defense here, I think. Coming out with the harmful lick into Volderen, bringing it down to 12%, but does overexert to do so.
Yeah, with that overexertion, that leaves a free Feather Gatling one more time. And then just for a final hoorah, you could go for a special, or not a special, a hyperkinetic strike. It is at +3 special defense, and now with the -1 defense, I think you're better off just Feather Gatling. But yeah, like we said, incredible potential comeback for Scoot. And you know, brilliant job for Tosh, knowing that, you know, we'll let the move flank go. And then we know that the 𝗏𝗏 can't one-shot the 𝗬𝗧. The 𝗬𝗧 outspeeds the Golder, so hook kick will bring it down. So there we have it, folks. Tosh will be moving forward into our finals. GG, but